Paul Dennis Reid, Jr., also known as the fast food killer, was an American serial killer, convicted and sentenced to death for 7 murders during 3 fast food restaurant robberies in Metropolitan Nashville, Tennessee and Clarksville, Tennessee between the months of February and April 1997. At the time of the murders, Reid was on parole from a 1983 conviction in Texas on charges relating to the aggravated armed robbery of a Houston steakhouse. He had served 7 years of a 20-year sentence, and was paroled in 1990. Originally from Richland Hills, Texas, a suburb of Fort Worth, Reid went to Nashville to pursue a career as a country music singer. Crimes. Captain D's. At Captain D's on Lebanon Road in Donelson, Tennessee, on the morning of February 16, 1997, Reid entered the store before opening, under the guise of applying for a job. Once inside, he forced employee Sarah Jackson, 16, and the manager, Steve Hampton, 25, into the restaurant's cooler. Reid forced the two to lie face down on the floor and then shot them execution-style. Money, including large amounts of change, was found missing from the cash register. Reid used the cash from this robbery as a down payment on a car 2 days later. McDonald's. At McDonald's on Lebanon Road in Hermitage, Tennessee when the scene was discovered, Gonzalez was taken to a nearby hospital, treated, and ultimately survived. He eventually testified against Reid. Baskin-Robbins. At Baskin-Robbins on Wilma Rudolph Boulevard in Clarksville, Tennessee, on the evening of April 23, 1997, Reid went to the door after closing and persuaded the employees to let him inside. Once inside, Reid kidnapped Angela Holmes, 21, and Michelle Mace, 16, and forced the two to Dunbar Cave State Park. Their bodies were discovered the next day at Dunbar Cave Park. Their throats had been slashed. Trials. Reid was convicted on 7 counts of first-degree murder across 3 trials. Jurors from West and East Tennessee were brought in and sequestered, because a judge determined that the overwhelming media coverage in Nashville would prevent the selection of an unbiased jury from Middle Tennessee. Captain D's. In the Captain D's murders, Steve Hampton's driver's license and a video rental card were found in the median of Ellington Parkway with Reid's fingerprints on each. Reid was convicted on 2 counts of first-degree murder. Baskin-Robbins. In the Baskin-Robbins murders, Reid's car was found to contain forensic evidence from the victims, as well as evidence of a credit card gasoline purchase near the location of the bodies on the night of the murders, placing him at the scene around the time of the crime in an area roughly 40 miles from his home. Witnesses also placed a vehicle similar to Reid's vehicle in the immediate area at the time of the crime. The Clarksville trial took place in the time between the 2 Nashville trials. Sentences. Reid received 7 death sentences for his convictions, the first 2 coming on April 20, 1999. Reid's execution was stayed several times in the years following, including an instance in 2003 just hours before the scheduled execution. Reid eventually waived his right to an appeal. Members of his family, along with anti-death penalty activists, claimed he was mentally handicapped and unable to make such a decision, and filed multiple motions, both successful and unsuccessful, to stay his execution. However, the Tennessee Supreme Court upheld all of Reid's sentences. Reid resided at Tennessee's Morgan County Correctional Complex, inmate number 303,893. His 7 death sentences are the most ever handed down to a single person in the state of Tennessee. His latest execution date was scheduled for January 3, 2008, but was stayed on December 26, 2007 by U.S. District Judge Todd J. Campbell, pending investigation into the constitutionality of Tennessee's lethal injection methods. The stay was part of a larger investigation, and not directly related to Reid's case. Mental issues. After his arrest, Reid's family, notably his sister, Linda Martiniano, argued that he was mentally incompetent to stand trial. And after his convictions, they argued that he was not able to make sound legal decisions. Reid displayed erratic decision-making, choosing to appeal some verdicts and not others, and professing his will to die as sentenced after having fought to avoid such a fate earlier in his defense. At the same time, however, Reid showed signs of paranoia, calling his defense team actors, and claiming he was part of a United States government mind control project called scientific technology that monitored his every move. In cross-examinations, the prosecution attempted to counter this defense by claiming Reid was a crafty con artist using these delusions as a defense mechanism. Other crimes suspected. For a time, Reid was considered a prime suspect in the 1993 Brown's Chicken Massacre in Palatine, Illinois due to the similar nature of the crime in relation to the two incidents in Nashville. Characteristics included shoe prints found at the scene and descriptions of the killer that matched Reid's profile. His alibi checked out, however, and Reid was later ruled out as a suspect. Juan Luna was convicted on 7 counts of murder in 2007. On September 29, 2009, Luna's cohort, James Degorski, was found guilty of all 7 counts of murder. On October 20, 2009, Degorski was sentenced to life in prison. All but 2 of the jurors had voted for the death penalty. Reid is a suspect in the Houston area killings of 3 people in a bowling alley for which Max Sofer has twice been convicted. Death. Reid died at Nashville General Hospital at McCary on November 1, 2013. The cause of death was from complications due to pneumonia, heart failure, and upper respiratory issues. Reid had been in the hospital for about 2 weeks.